Okay, so in the last session, we have seen the basics or the fundamentals of data structure, the types of data structure, then what do you mean by ADT, and what are the different operations that can be performed on a data structure. So these are the fundamentals or the topics of the first module, which we have seen in the last session. So to start with the same thing, a data structure, you must be remembering, a data structure is a way of organizing and storing a data into the computer memory so that it can be accessed efficiently. Okay, so basically it is structuring or organizing our data into the computer memory, and the structuring and organizing of the data, how we are keeping the data into the memory, that is very important. That how we are keeping a data, or you can say the organization of a data, or you can say the structure of a data, the way we are keeping the data into the memory, that will define the data accessibility. That will define that how quickly you can access the data. That will define that how quickly you can perform different operations on your data. The basic operation is searching a data, reading a data, writing a data. So all these operations basically take some time. Now this time, how much time it takes, depends upon how the data is organized or structured into the memory. And this thing we'll be studying in this entire course. That what are the different ways of structuring a data, or what are the different ways of organizing a data. Okay? So again, a data structure is a way of storing or organizing a data into the computer memory so that it can be accessed efficiently. This we have seen. A data structure is a way of storing and organizing the data into the memory so that it can be accessed efficiently. Okay? Then we have seen that there are two categories of data structure. One is called a linear data structure. Another one is called a non-linear data structure. A linear data structure is a data structure in which the data elements are stored in a sequence, are arranged in a sequence. A non-linear data structure is a data structure in which the data elements are not stored or arranged in a sequence. Okay? They are kept out of sequence. Now, in a linear data structure, you have arrays, stacks, queues, and linked lists. In non-linear data structure, you have trees and graph. Then we have seen one more thing called abstract data type or ADT. What is an ADT? It is a mathematical or a logical model which is used to specify two things. Which two things? The data and the operations that can be performed on that data. Okay? So your ADT, abstract data type, is basically combination of a data and the operations that can be performed on that data. Example, integer ADT that we have seen. In the data part, any integer value from negative infinity to positive infinity. This is theoretically, but practically we have some limit. So some negative value to some positive value. For example, minus 32,000 something to plus 32,000 something. Okay. Then all these values should be integer values. They should not be real values or the floating point values. Then what are the different operations that can be performed on this data? You can add integer values, you can subtract integer values, you can multiply integer values, and then you can perform division on integer values. So these are the basic operations that can be performed on this integer data. So this together, a data and the operations, this together defines abstract data type for integer, and we call it as integer ADT. So the integer ADT will be having a data part that will define the integer data, and then the operations part that will define the operations that can be performed on this integer data. Then today we shall be starting with your second module or the second chapter, which is stacks and queues. So the first data type, the first data structure which we are going to study in this course is a stack. Now, what is a stack? The first question comes into your mind. So we'll be talking about stack today. A stack is a linear data structure in which addition and deletion of data are done from a same end, end. Okay. So you just imagine or visualize a stack as an array or as a pipe which has two open ends. Okay. Now into these two open ends, if you close one end, so there remains only single open end. So from that single open end only you can insert something, and then you are going to delete the thing from that same end. Okay. So take an example of a cup of a tea, take an example of any bottle or any container which has one open end. The second end of the container is closed. So whatever you are going to keep into that container, that will go from that single end only, and that will come out from that single end only. Okay. So now in this data structure, wherein we are going to insert the data and delete the data from the same end. So whatever you are going to insert at the or whatever is inserted last, that will be deleted first. I repeat, whatever is inserted last, that will be deleted first. Okay. Now this end, from where the insertion and deletion is done, this end is often referred as top of a stack. Top of a stack. Okay. So the stack has one end only, one open end, and that end is called as a top of a stack. Okay. And the data, whatever data is inserted last, that data will be deleted first, and that's why stack data structure is also called as last in first out data structure. Last in first out, that is LIFO. Last in first out, LIFO structure or LIFO data structure, you can say. Stack is also called as LIFO structure, because whatever is last in, that will be first out. Since you have only one open end in a stack, and that open end is called as top of a stack. So from top of a stack, you are going to insert the data, and from the top of stack only, you are going to delete the data. So whatever you are going to insert last, that will be first out. So you can imagine a stack of plates. When you keep a plate one after another, one after another, one after another, so the plate which is on the top, that plate will be taken out first. और जो प्लेट आपने सबसे पहले रखे थे, वो प्लेट सबसे नीचे जा चुकी. So that plate will come out last. Okay. So whichever is getting inserted at the last, that will be deleted first. That's why it is called LIFO structure. That's why it is called LIFO structure. And then the end from where insertion and deletion of data is done, that end is referred as top of a stack. or that end is called as the top of stack. Now, stack as an ADT or the stack ADT simply. How to define a ADT for the stack? Now we all know that a ADT, abstract data type, is a mathematical model which is used to specify what? Which is used to specify two things: a data and then the operations that can be performed on that data. Okay, so if we are going to write a stack ADT, or you can say ADT of a stack, so we need to write about two things: the data part of the stack and then the operations which can be performed on this data of a stack, or you can simply say stack operations. The first part is the data part. So what is going to come into the data part? A data of a stack ADT, it is a sequence, it is a finite sequence, it is a finite sequence of a particular type a finite sequence of elements of a particular type. It is a finite sequence of elements of a particular type. Okay, finite sequence of elements of a particular type. That's all. Then the operations part. Operations. So in a stack, the first operation which we can generally perform is called as initialization of a stack. So the first operation is to initialize a stack. Initialize, yes, initialize a stack. Second operation that we can perform is to check whether the stack is empty or not. Check whether the stack is empty, or check whether the stack is empty. Then third, check whether the stack is full, because it is acting as a container kind of thing. So we need to check whether it is empty, whether it is full. Then the fourth important operation, insert at the top of stack if a stack is not full. If a stack is not full, you can only insert if the stack is not full. That is what obvious. This operation is called pop. This operation is called pop. This is important. Understand? Oh, sorry, this operation is called push. I'm extremely sorry. This operation is called push. You are pushing something onto the stack. Okay? Inserting an element at the top of stack is called as a push operation. Then delete an element from the top of stack. Obviously, if the stack is not empty. If it is not empty. This operation is called push. This operation is called pop. You are popping from the stack. Means you are removing an element from the top of stack, and this operation is called as a pop operation. This operation is called as a push operation. You are inserting an element at the top of stack, then checking whether the stack is full is one operation. Checking whether the stack is empty or not is one operation. Then initializing a stack is also an operation. Then there is one more operation called retrieve an element from the top of stack. Retrieve an element from the top of stack. This operation is called peek. This operation is called peek. Okay. So now these are the basic and the most important operations on a stack. So this becomes your stack ADT. Fine. What is data part in the stack ADT? A finite sequence of elements of a particular type. Then operations, initializing a stack, checking whether the stack is empty, checking whether the stack is full, then inserting at the top of stack if the stack is not full. This operation is called push. Then deleting an element from the top of stack if the stack is not empty. This operation is called pop. And then retrieving an element from the top of stack. This operation is called peek. Now, you may have a query that what's the difference between pop and peek? When we pop, so basically we delete element from the top of stack. When we peek, so basically we only read the element value from the top of stack. So we do not delete. So after peek operation, the element from a stack is not deleted and the stack size remains same. It is not reduced by one element. But when we talk about pop operation, so an element is deleted from the stack and the size of the stack is reduced by one element. I repeat, the size of the stack is reduced by one element. So for example, if you have two elements in your stack, when you perform pop operations once, so one element is removed or deleted, so there remains only one element. When you perform pop operation again, so that single element is also deleted, so there remains zero element in the stack and your stack is empty. So if you have two elements in a stack, you perform pop operations twice, then your stack is empty. If you have two elements in your stack and you perform peek operations two times, your stack is not empty. Still there are two elements in your stack. So even if your stack is having only one element and you are performing peek operation 100 number of times, then also that one element will remain there because you are simply reading the element value. You are not removing or deleting that element from the stack. So this is called peek. So these are the important operations that can be performed on stack. Okay. So now we have seen two important things: a basics of stack, then stack ADT. Okay. What is stack? A linear data structure in which insertion or addition and deletion of data are done from a same end, and that end is called as of a stack. A stack is also called as Lego structure because of its operation style. Last in, first out structure. Whichever element is inserted last, that element will be deleted first. I repeat, whichever element is inserted last, that element will be deleted first. That's why it is called last in, first out structure. जो सबसे लास्ट में आया वो सबसे पहले बाहर जाएगा और जो सबसे पहले आया था वो सबसे लास्ट में बाहर जाएगा, because only one end is open. Since only one end is open, so whatever you are inserting from that end only, and whatever you are removing from the same end. And then this is the ADT of stack. Now the third point is your implementation of stack. Now there is a question के peak copy करेगा, peak copy. I did not understand your question. Can you repeat it? What do you want to say exactly? Peak copy करेगा, peak copy करेगा. Okay, some yes, up to a certain extent you can say that you are copying an element from the top of stack. पीक और पॉप में यही फर्क है कि जो आपका पीक है वो आपकी स्टैक का एलिमेंट डिलीट नहीं करता और जो पॉप है वो आपकी स्टैक का एलिमेंट डिलीट कर देता है. ठीक है. When you pop an element from the stack, top of stack, for example, you have two elements in your stack, say 4 and then 5. 5 is on top of 4, so 5 is the topmost element. So when you perform pop operation once, that 5 will be removed from the top of stack. So what comes to the top of stack? 4. 4 comes on the top of stack. Okay. And if imagine the same example, you have two elements in stack, 4 है और 4 के ऊपर 5 है. So when you perform a peak operation will give you a value of 5. That is 5 is on the top of stack, but it will not delete that 5 from the stack. So after peak operation, the top of stack will remain same. That is 5. I repeat, the top of stack remains same after performing the peak operation. अभी आप ये peak operation अगर 100 भी perform करेंगे तो 100 बार भी आपको जो भी top पे है वही element मिलेगा. एलिमेंट भी नहीं है. लेकिन पॉप ऑपरेशन में क्या, हर पॉप ऑपरेशन में जो स्टैक का टॉप एलिमेंट है वो डिलीट होगा, वो स्टैक के बाहर आ जाए. इट विल बी रिमूव्ड फ्रॉम द टॉप ऑफ स्टैक और फिर उसके नीचे जो भी एलिमेंट था दैट एलिमेंट विल बिकम द टॉप ऑफ स्टैक. So now the next point is implementation of stack. In the implementation of stack, we'll come to know that basically how the stack is represented in the memory. So when you say implementation, so it's all about putting that data structure into the memory. Putting that data structure into the memory. So how we are going to have a stack in memory, that we are going to see into this implementation part. Now it can be done either by using arrays or by using linked list. अभी जो लिंक लिस्ट वाला पार्ट है that will not be seeing now. When we will be completing the linked list chapter, in that chapter we will be studying how to implement the stack using linked list. So now we will be seeing how to implement a stack using arrays. Okay, how you can make use of arrays to implement a stack. Now when we think of a stack, तो stack के ADT को imagine करो. You are going to implement a stack. Okay, implementing a data structure. When you want to implement a data structure, you need to visualize what is the ADT of data structure, abstract data type. जब आप abstract data type को implement करोगे तो उसका जो abstract word है वो निकल जाएगा और फिर क्या बचेगा, data type, which you can use. So abstract data type is on paper specification what you are going to have in your data structure, what you are going to have in your data type. So if you see the specification of stack, what it says that in the data part of a stack ADT, it is a finite sequence of elements of a particular type. So if you imagine a element of particular type, say integer, so it is a finite sequence of elements of integer type. अगर आपको float store करना है तो it is a finite sequence of elements of a float type. अगर आपको string store करना है तो it is a finite sequence of elements of a string type. अगर आपको structure store करना है then it becomes a finite sequence of elements of a structure type and so on. So it means that you can store any type of data in your stack, but then you are going to have a finite sequence of elements of that particular type. Okay, अब ये जो line है finite sequence of elements of particular type, ये आपका या तो arrays से बन सकता है या तो linked list से बन सकता है. Getting it? So this is important. This can be done while implementing, obviously while implementing. While implementing, this can be done either using arrays, finite sequence of elements. Array क्या होता है? It is also a sequence of elements of a particular type only, of a similar type only. ठीक है? Likewise linked list also. लेकिन linked list में हमारा pointer use होता है, उसके अंदर बनती है, that we'll see later on. So now we need to concentrate on a array part. Okay, how to have this finite sequence of elements of a particular type using arrays. ठीक है, तो हमारा जो डेटा पार्ट है वो हमारा किससे आ जाएगा? अरेज. अब ये जो ऑपरेशंस कैसे होंगे हमारे परफॉर्म? वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट इम्प्लीमेंटेशन ऑफ अ स्टैक. मतलब कि हमको स्टैक का डेटा टाइप बनाना है और उस डेटा टाइप के ऊपर सब ऑपरेशंस भी परफॉर्म करने हैं. So we to perform the operation of initializing a stack. We need to perform one operation to check whether the stack is empty or not, full or not. Then we need to perform push operation. We need to perform pop operation. Likewise, we need to perform peek operation. Now, if you remember, then we have discussed that whenever you have a problem, so we should decompose that problem, or we should divide that problem into smaller subproblems, and then for every subproblem we'll be having one module or one function. So if I divide my problem into 5 subproblems, so I will be having 5 functions, one function for one subproblem. Apart from these 5 functions, then I will be having a main function in my program. Then all these functions will communicate with each other, and then the entire problem will be solved. Likewise, this operations is a problem to be solved. Operations on a stack is a problem to be solved. What we are doing, we are dividing this operations problem into 6 subproblems. Please see very carefully. This is very important to understand. अगर आप ये चीज समझ जाते हो एक डेटा स्ट्रक्चर के लिए, तो इंशाल्लाह सभी डेटा स्ट्रक्चर के लिए इंपॉर्टेंट कंसेप्ट जो है क्लियर हो जाए. ठीक है, आई रिपीट, there is one major problem of performing or implementing different operations on a stack. Now this major problem of operations on stack is divided into 6 subproblems. The first subproblem is initialize the stack. The second subproblem is to check whether the stack is empty. Third is to check whether the stack is full. Fourth is to push. Fifth is to pop. And sixth is to peek. What we'll be doing in modular programming now? In modular programming, since we have divided our major problem of operations into these 6 subproblems, so for each subproblem we'll be having one function. So it means that I will be having one function to initialize the stack. I will be having another function to check whether the stack is empty. I will be having another function to check whether the stack is full. Then another function for push, another function for pop, another function for peek, and then one main function. Then these functions will communicate with each other and they will solve the entire problem. Okay, so this will be doing in implementation part. Now coming back to the data part of this ADT stack, we have seen that it is a finite sequence of elements of a particular type which we are going to implement using arrays. So now if we come back to the definition of stack, so what is stack? It is a linear data structure in which addition and deletion of data are done from a same end. Now to have this collection of data elements or sequence of data elements, we are going to have arrays. I repeat, to have the collection of data or the sequence of data elements, we are going to have arrays. But what about this same end? How to have this same end? Okay, this end is often referred as top of a stack. It means that if we are implementing a stack, apart from array, we need one more thing, and that is called top of a stack. हमें कुछ ऐसा चाहिए जो कि अरे स्टैक के टॉप को रिप्रेजेंट करे. So we'll be having a array and we'll be having a top. So these two things together will be used to define a stack data type. These two things together will be used to define a stack data type. Okay. How to do that? What is a better way to do that? Can someone tell me? What is the top of stack? A top of stack is nothing but it is always pointing to the topmost element of a stack. If a stack is empty, then top should have a value from which we'll come to know that the stack is empty. If a stack is full, then top is going to have a value by which we'll come to know that the stack is full. And if you want to perform any insertion, then we can make use of a top. If we want to perform any deletion, then we can make use of a top. So this top of stack is very important for us. Okay. So two things together will form a stack data type. One is the array of elements that we are going to store into the stack, and second is the top of stack. Now, can anyone tell me how to combine these two things together? How to have array and top into a single unit, into a single box, into a single container, and then we can call that container as a stack. Can someone answer me this, please? You can send your answer into the chat box.
Sir, indexing.
You can say yes. Someone is saying something. Please loudly.
Sir, indexing.
Indexing,
sir.
Very good. Very good. Excellent answer. You can make use of indexing of an array to represent the top of a stack. So your top
Yes,
is
sir.
an index in an array. Very good. Excellent, mashallah. So top is an index of an array. Now how to keep the two things together? I want to keep the two things together. A top variable which will be having an index value and an array which will be having the stack elements. अरे के अंदर स्टैक के एलिमेंट्स होंगे, डेटा एलिमेंट्स होंगे, और जो टॉप वेरिएबल होगा वो टॉप वेरिएबल उस इंडेक्स पोजीशन को पॉइंट करेगा जहां पर आपका अरे का टॉप मोस्ट एलिमेंट होगा. अरे स्टैक का टॉप मोस्ट एलिमेंट होगा अरे में, उस एलिमेंट की इंडेक्स वैल्यू को जो टॉप है वो पॉइंट करेगा. ओके, सो यू विल बी हैविंग अ टॉप वेरिएबल ऑफ सम टाइप एंड अरे ऑफ सम टाइप. ये दोनों चीज को आपको कंबाइन करना है एक साथ में. हाउ यू कैन कंबाइन?
Sir, using the length of the array.
Using the length of an array. Then what else? The problem is that I am not able to draw or write here something. If I try to draw anything and capture it with my mobile phone, so to show you, so आपको उसमें काफी blurred दिखेगा because the mobile phone camera is of higher pixel density. So bandwidth के प्रॉब्लम की वजह से जो मोबाइल डेटा पे है उनको प्रॉब्लम आएगा. हाँ, my question is के how you can combine array and a top variable together to form a stack. Okay, my question is we are going to have array for storing stack elements, stack data elements. Okay, and then you are going to have a top variable. Top variable to point to the topmost element of stack. Okay, I am getting an answer that it can be done using structure. The answer is from Saud, Qadri Saud, and the answer is perfect. Answer is correct. Very good. We can very safely and we can very nicely make use of structure to store or to bring these two things together. Try to understand. You are having array of something and then top variable. Okay. So my top variable will be of int type. आप स्ट्रक्चर के अंदर आप अरे में आई मीन टू से आप स्टैक में कुछ भी स्टोर करो, कोई भी टाइप का एलिमेंट स्टोर करो. You store integer into stack, you store float values into stack, you store strings into stack, or you store students information into stack. Whatever you want to store, you store anything into stack. And if you are implementing that stack using arrays, so this top variable will be always of type integer. I repeat, the top variable will be always of type integer. Can anyone tell me why? Why it should be of type integer only if you are implementing a stack using arrays? Question के अंदर the answer है. I am implementing a stack using arrays, and then I am saying that the top variable will be always of type integer. अभी आप देखो कि
Because the index
because it is an index value, because it is going to store the index value, and a index is what? It is a positive integer value. Index के बारे में it's a positive integer value. So since index is a positive integer value and top is going to store the index value, that's why the type of top is int. Now what should be the type of array? What should be the type of array? Khan Zakir Rahman, if you are saying something, what should be the type of array? Please. array का type क्या होगा? Why we are going to use array? We are going to use array to store the stack data elements. Now, since you are going to store the stack data elements, absolutely correct. Whatever type of data elements you are going to store into the stack, that will be the type of this array. If you are going to store an integer type of elements into your array, into your stack, so this array will be of type integer. ठीक है? अगर आपके इसमें maximum element 50 जाना है, so you can make it 50. अगर maximum elements 100 जाना है, you can make it 100. Okay? And if it is if you are going to store the floating values into your stack, so this will be of type float. If you are going to store a simple character values, this will be of type character. If you are going to store strings, then this will be pointer to character, and so on. If you are going to store student information, then this will be a type of what? This will be type of what? Come on. I want to store the 100 students information. Maximum 100 students information. This will be type of structure. Very good. This will be a student structure. You will be having a student structure somewhere, and this will become a student structure. Okay? So this is how your array type depends on the type of data you are going to store into your stack. Okay? So we'll start with a integer value to keep it very simple for the understanding purpose. Later on we can change it as per our requirement. अब ये दोनों चीजों को आपको क्या करना है? इन दोनों चीजों को आपको कंबाइन करना है. किसमें कंबाइन करना है? ऑब्वियसली आपको इसको कंबाइन करना है एक स्ट्रक्चर के अंदर, so that they becomes a single unit. So here We'll be writing struct, and let's call this struct as a stack. Done. So now we have created a structure stack in which we have created two things. One is the array of integer type to store the integer values, and second is a top variable of integer type. Okay. So using this stack structure, now I can declare the variables of this stack. ठीक है, अगर मुझे एक stack चाहिए, so I will declare one variable of the structure stack type. If I am going to work on two stacks, then I will be declaring two variables of the structure stack type. And if I want to work on 10 stacks, I will be declaring an array of 10 elements of structure stack type. So it all depends upon our requirement. We are trying to make the program as modular as possible. We are trying to make up the program as modular as possible. हमको हमारे program को modular और generalized बनाना है. Okay. And one more important thing for you people, please concentrate on the programming part. Please concentrate on the programming part. I am sure that the way we are going to do the programs, you may not find it in any of the books. ना ही कोई लोकल बुक में आपको मिलेगा और ना ही जनरली किसी रेफरेंस बुक में आपको मिलेगा. So you need to be concentrating on this part. You need to understand this, and you need to implement it this way only, the way we are discussing. Okay. So let's start to have a code for it. Now, implementation of a stack using arrays. And here I will be calling it, say, session dot c. So we are implementing a stack using arrays, and then this theory part which we have discussed over here, let me put it here. Okay. तो theory part जो हमने यहाँ पर discuss किया था, I have put that theory part over here. My screen is still visible to all. You can see my Visual Studio Code. Yes. Okay. Okay. Thank you. This is better. This is better. So what we have done that we have created a structure for our stack. We have named it as stack, and what we have taken an integer type array of some size, and one integer type variable called the top of my stack. Now see what I'm doing here. First let me have this. I say hash define Now the way you have hash include, in the same way we have hash define. This hash include is called as preprocessor directive. जो भी hash के साथ में आता है उसको हम बोलते हैं preprocessor directive in C++. What they do that they preprocess the command, include command or define command before your compilation. So compiler को in the last few sessions we have seen that the compilation of a C program starts from the first line, okay, and the execution of a C program always starts from the main function. तो compilation में जो first step होता है वो प्री प्रोसेसिंग होता है. उसमें ये हो जाता है कि ये जो भी कमांड दिया हुआ है hash include stdio.h, तो स्टैंडर्ड इनपुट आउटपुट हेडर फाइल पूरी की पूरी यहाँ पर कॉपी हो जाएंगी. uni_std.h हेडर फाइल यहाँ पर कॉपी हो जाएंगी. Hash define, I am defining a variable max and I am giving it a value of say 10. ठीक है. Now what it says कि अब यहाँ पर कंपाइलेशन में फर्स्ट स्टेप में ही एक मैक्स नाम का वेरिएबल डिक्लेयर हुआ और उसको वैल्यू मिली 10. A max variable is defined with a value 10. Okay, so in the entire program after this line, wherever I write max, that max will be replaced by 10 by the compiler. Compiler will replace all the occurrences of max with 10. Okay, and it is a case sensitive programming language. तो यहाँ पर अगर मैंने कैपिटल में लिखा हो तो सब जगह मुझे कैपिटल में ही लिखना है. So what I am saying that the maximum size of my this array or the size of my array is 10. Okay, इसका फायदा ये है, आपको कोडिंग में आगे पता चलेगा कि आगे कई जगह हम लोग को ये मैक्स वैल्यू यूज करना. तो अगर मैं प्रोग्राम में बाद में चेंज करता हूँ इस 10 को, अगर मुझे 5 करना है तो प्रोग्राम में सब जगह मुझे 5 करना पड़ा होता. तो दैट्स व्हाई नाउ आई हैव डिफाइंड इट एज 10 ओवर हियर. तो अगर मुझे चेंज करना है तो आई चेंज इट हियर वंस, और पूरे प्रोग्राम में जो मैक्स है दैट विल बी चेंज टू 1. ओके, सो दिस इज हाउ यू कैन मेक यूज ऑफ hash define for defining the variables. So this is our structure is defined. The first operation that we are going to perform on our stack is your initialize function. This initialize operation. I need to initialize the stack. Okay. How will be initializing a stack? Now, I said you that a bigger problem of performing the operations on stack is divided into 6 subproblems, and for each subproblem we'll be having one function. So we'll be having one function for initializing, we'll be having one function to check for an empty condition, for a full condition, then push, pop, and peek. So when you write a function, when you define a function, all these are user-defined functions. So in the last few sessions, we have seen how to define our own function, how to go for the user-defined function. Whenever you think of a user-defined function, 4 things are very important. Those 4 things are called the 4 properties of a function. The first property is the name of a function. The second property is the argument list of a function. The third property is a return type of a function. And then the fourth property is a body of the function. Likewise, when we are going to define functions for function for each of the operations that are going to be performed on stack, we need to answer these 4 important questions. What should be the name? What should be the argument list? What should be the return type? And what should be the body of a function? So for the first function, where we need to initialize the stack, what should be the name? A name of an identifier should be valid and logical. Validity तो सबको पता है. You need to just follow the syntax of a programming language or the grammar of the programming language. Logic, whatever the function is doing, the name should reflect its task. The name of a function should reflect its task. So let me call this function as initialize. INITIALIZE or LISE, whatever I want to name it. Okay. So this becomes my function name. Initialize. Argument list. What all things we are going to pass to this function. That becomes the argument list. What will be passing to the function? Can anyone tell me what we are going to pass to this function? This function is responsible, or the task of the function is to initialize a given stack. I repeat, the task of a function is to initialize a given stack. So now, what should be the argument list of this function? Come on. Yes? You can write your answer into the chat box, or you can unmute your mic and you can say the answer. You need to pass the top. Okay, you need to pass a top. Array name. Okay. You need to pass an array name, or you need to pass a top, or you need to pass both. Where is the top? Top is inside my stack. Where is my array? Array is also inside the stack. What we are going to pass? Initialize a stack. Very good. We need to pass a stack. Very good answer. We need to pass a stack. The question is simple. The function is responsible to initialize a given stack. Given stack. Given stack. It means that to complete its task, the function needs a stack. Unless and until you give a stack, it cannot initialize it. So we need to pass a stack. Conceptually समझ में आ गया कि भाई stack पास करना है. Practically क्या मतलब है? Conceptually तो answer perfect है. Yes, we will be passing a stack to this function. Practically, what does it mean? How you will be passing a stack? How you will be passing a stack? Come on. Brush your mind. Brush your mind. Structure. Using its data type. Okay. So let me write a main function first. My main function. इसकी भी थोड़ी body लग देते. Inside my main function, what I will be doing that I want to make use of one stack inside a main function. So I will be declaring a stack variable. अगर मुझे एक stack के ऊपर काम करना है, I will be declaring one variable of this structure stack type. So let me call it S. Done. Perfect. So this is my stack variable. अब ये stack variable को मुझे initialize करना है. So I will be calling what? I will be calling the initialize function from here itself, from the main function. And what will be passing? A stack which I want to initialize. If I want to initialize this stack S, then what I will be passing? I will be passing S. Simple. If I got two variables of stack type s, s1, it means that क्या मेरे प्रोग्राम में भाई दो स्टैक है, क्योंकि मैं दो वेरिएबल डिक्लेयर कर रहा हूँ, जैसे कि दो इंटीजर int I, j, तो दो इंटीजर हो गए I and j. Likewise, struct stack s, s1. So I got two stacks. One is s, another one is s1. So to initialize s, I will be passing s. To initialize s1, I will be passing s1. Are you getting it? तो पहले हम s को पास कर देंगे एक बार इनिशियलाइज फंक्शन को, एंड देन विल बी कॉलिंग अप द सेम इनिशियलाइज फंक्शन, and then we'll be passing what? We'll be passing s1. So this will initialize s, this will initialize s1. जो भी आप स्टैक पास करो. This is called modular programming. This is called modular programming and general programming. मैं जितनी चाहूँ उतनी स्टैक अपने प्रोग्राम में डिक्लेयर कर लूँ, जिस स्टैक को चाहूँ उस स्टैक को इनिशियलाइज करूँ, जिस स्टैक पे जो ऑपरेशन परफॉर्म करना चाहूँ उस स्टैक पे वो ऑपरेशन परफॉर्म करूँ. दिस इज कॉल्ड जनरलाइज्ड प्रोग्रामिंग. दिस इज कॉल्ड जनरलाइज्ड प्रोग्रामिंग. अदरवाइज आप अगर ऐसी लोकल बुक्स रिफर करो तो आपको उसमें ऐसे प्रोग्राम्स मिलेंगे जो एकदम दे आर वेरी स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड प्रोग्राम्स. वो अलग अलग फंक्शंस भी नहीं लिखेंगे, वो एक ही फंक्शन में उनके प्रोग्राम की जिंदगी शुरू होती है और उसी मेन फंक्शन में उनके प्रोग्राम की जिंदगी खत्म हो जाती है. they don't do anything else. But we need to learn how to do a modular programming, how to divide your problem into subproblems, how to write your own functions to tackle those subproblems, and then how to go for generalized programming. A generalized programming is a programming which gives you a freedom. So here we have a freedom of declaring n number of stacks. We have a freedom of performing different operations on a different stacks. Okay, अलग अलग ऑपरेशन आप अलग अलग स्टैक के पर परफॉर्म कर सकते हो. एक स्टैक के अंदर आप पुश कर रहे हो, दूसरी स्टैक से आप पॉप कर सकते हो. So this can only be done if you are doing generalized programming. अगर आपका मेन फंक्शन में सब कुछ शुरू हो के सब कुछ खत्म हो रहा है तो इट्स वेरी डिफिकल्ट. आपका वहां पर ये स्ट्रक्चर की भी जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी. एंड इनफैक्ट इन फ्यू ऑफ द बुक्स यू विल सी और यू कैन सी क्या स्टैक के इम्प्लीमेंटेशन के प्रोग्राम के लिए स्ट्रक्चर भी नहीं किया है. खाली मेन के अंदर डायरेक्टली ऐसा कोई अरे डिक्लेयर कर लिया, टॉप वेरिएबल डिक्लेयर कर लिया और उसी के ऊपर वहीं पे पुश पॉप ऑपरेशन वहीं पे सब परफॉर्म कर लिया, without writing any function, without making it generalized, without making it modular. Okay, so coming back to our point. So now we can have multiple stacks in our program. We can perform operations on stacks. So what we are passing? We are passing a stack. अब ये जो स्टैक है इसका टाइप क्या है बेटा? इसका टाइप है स्ट्रक्ट स्टैक. ये टाइप को उठाना है सीधा, मैंने कॉपी किया और यहाँ पर पेस्ट किया. So I am going to pass a variable of type structure stack to this function, and I can call it whatever I want. I want to call it ht. So I can call it ht. I can call it as whatever I want to. Okay. Now, inside this, what we are going to do? This is important. I want to initialize a stack. Initialization is nothing but clearing your entire stack or declaring that your stack has now nothing. It has been cleaned. It has been cleared. It does not have any element. Declaration of that statement. So in the initialize function, we need to do something by which we can ensure or we can declare कि ये जो स्टैक आपने हमको पास की है जिसको हम इनिशियलाइज कर रहे हैं, ये स्टैक के अंदर आप कुछ नहीं, ये स्टैक पूरी एम्प्टी है. ये स्टैक को अभी आप यूज कर सकते हो. इट हैज बीन इनिशियलाइज्ड so that it can be used. So it's a fresh stack. It's an empty stack. Okay. So how to define that? How to make a stack empty? स्टैक को एम्प्टी कैसे बताएंगे हम? चलो फटाफट. Come on, fast. I need to see some answers. You can say also by unmuting your mic. Or should I come to the Gmeet window and then I pick up a student to answer this? Do you want that? By making every element 0 using for loop. Okay? By making every element 0 using for loop, one of the possibilities you can make your entire array as 0, or by performing repeatedly pop operations, so your all elements are deleted. But dear and near ones, my dear students, we are implementing this in C programming language, and you know that in C programming language, when you declare a variable by default gets a garbage value, an undefined value. Okay. So undefined value में ये होता है कि अगर आप उसको clean ना भी करो या clean करो, it doesn't make any sense. I repeat, it doesn't make any sense. So अगर आप looping use करके array के पूरे elements को 0 करते, it doesn't make any sense. Because 0 can also be a data. 0 can also be a data. Okay. So what is important कि आप उसको control जिससे कर रहे हो ना, you play with that. And what is the controlling element for the stack? A top is a controlling element for the stack. A top is something which says okay, whether your stack is now full or whether your stack is empty, or which is the topmost element of a stack, and so on. What is top? Top will be always pointing to the topmost element of a stack, right? So now stack की size अगर आपकी 5 है यहाँ पर, तो टॉप की वैल्यू कहां से कहां तक जा सकती है? कम ऑन फास्ट. टॉप की वैल्यू का रेंज क्या होगा? अगर स्टैक की अरे की वैल्यू मैक्सिमम 5 है, if the size of my array is 5, this is a of 5. Okay, this is a of 5. So yes, very good. The top value will go from 0 to 4. The top value will go from 0 to 4. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Total 5 elements. 0 to 4. Very good. अब 0 to 4 में अगर टॉप की वैल्यू 0 है, means how many elements are there in a stack? One element. Because top is pointing to the topmost element और topmost element 0th index पे है, तो इसका यह मतलब हुआ कि स्टैक में एक एलिमेंट है. If top is having a value of 1, it means that there are 2 elements. If top is having a value 2, it means that there are 3 elements. If top is having a value 3, it means that there are 4 elements in my stack. And if top is having a value of 4, it means that there are 5 elements in my stack. And now I cannot push any more elements because my stack is full, because top is now having a value of 1 less than max, that is 4. Likewise, if my top is empty, what should be a value? Sorry, if my stack is empty, what should be the value of top? What should be a value of top if my stack is empty? If stack has 1 element, so 0. If stack has 2 elements, then 1. If stack has 3 elements, then the value of top is 2, and so on. If a stack has maximum elements, then the value of top is max minus 1. I repeat, if the top has maximum number of, if the stack has maximum number of elements, then my top value is max minus 1. So if the stack is empty, what should be the value of top? If the stack is empty, the good value for the top is minus 1. In fact, it can be any negative value. It's up to us how we are implementing. It's up to us how we are implementing, but it is good to go with minus 1. So if my stack is empty, then I can say that my top is minus 1. Top equals minus 1. So the moment you write top equals minus 1, it means your stack is empty. I repeat, the moment you write top equals -1, you are making your stack empty. तुमने डिक्लेयर कर दिया कि तुम्हारी स्टैक अभी एम्प्टी है. एम्प्टी है मतलब इनिशियलाइज हो चुकी है, मतलब वो फ्रेश है. ओके, उसके अंदर अभी पुश ऑपरेशन आप परफॉर्म कर सकते हो. हाउ टू राइट दिस टॉप इक्वल्स -1? My variable name is st. Structure variable name is st. This top is inside this st. So how should I write it? That also we have seen how to access the data member of a structure. Structure variable name, that is st over here. Then which operator? Dot operator. Very good. st dot top equal -1. st dot top equals -1. Okay. Are we returning anything from here? From this function, we are not returning anything. So let's make the return type as void. So my return type is void. The name of the function is stack, and it is accepting, or it is taking a variable of type structure stack. Of inside the function, we are writing st dot top equals -1. Okay. Now, okay. Let me display the value of s of top. S dot top is, sorry, is %d, comma s dot top. Okay. Okay. Let's execute this code and let's try to see what output we get. Let me keep it aside. What we are doing? हमने यहाँ पर दो वेरिएबल डिक्लेयर किए स्टैक के, फिर हमने इनिशियलाइज फंक्शन को कॉल किया, एस पास किया, इनिशियलाइज फंक्शन कॉल हुआ, एस की कॉपी एस टी में आ गई, फिर हमने st डॉट टॉप इक्वल्स टू -1 कर दिया. That's all. And now here into printf we are trying to display this top. ये जो s है इसका टॉप हम डिस्प्ले कर दे. So s डॉट टॉप इज, और फिर इसके बाद में उसकी वैल्यू s डॉट टॉप. It is saying h dot top is 0. What value we are setting? -1. And it is saying h dot top is 0. Can you tell me what's the reason for this? Can you tell me what's the reason for this? We are setting top to -1, but when we are displaying it over here, so it is saying that your h dot top is 0. Why is it so? We are setting it -1, it should be -1. Why it is coming as 0? No, h dot top is 0. Why h dot top is 0? Integer cannot be negative. No, integer can be negative. It is not unsigned integer. If it is an unsigned integer, then it cannot be negative. All integers are by default signed integers. -32,000 something to +32,000 something. 0 is the first element. No beta, 0 is not the first element. कुछ भी नहीं. First element अगर मुझे चाहिए तो मुझे तो h dot a लिखना पड़ेगा ना. h dot a of 0 will give me the first element. This is not a first element. See, first element is this. Printf, and I say first first element, sorry, and here I will be writing s dot array का नाम a और square bracket में 0. This is my first element. Okay, let's execute this. First element is 8. बड़ा प्रॉब्लम है. New line. H dot top is 0. First element is 8. First element 8 कहाँ से आए ये भी नहीं मालूम. It's a garbage value. Do not worry for that. H dot top is 0. Because we are not making initialize variable, 0 is the first element. Not to the point. After clearing stack, the position of index will be placed at 0 after forming the stack. No. Here the problem is what you know. थोड़ा सा मैंने आप लोगों से थोड़ा सा ज्यादा एक्सपेक्ट किया, but few of you should have answered this. This is about how you can pass a data to a function, or this is about something called as message passing in C programming language, or how the functions communicate with each other. Okay, I understand completely that these things were not done in SPA, but at the same time, as I said, that I was expecting it from few students, not from all the students. From few students that there should be few students in every classroom every year. Those who are always studying out of syllabus things, or those who are studying programming language out of interest. And we need to have such students. And I strongly feel that there are few students in your class also of that type. And that's why I'm getting some correct answer. Pointer. Okay. So pointer is a solution for this. And from concept point of view, you should understand that when we pass a data to a function, this is called message passing in C programming language. And message passing are of two types in C programming language. Message passing methods in C. You can pass messages in C, or you can pass arguments to a function. Message passing means function को argument pass करने का तरीका. So one is pass by value. It is also called as call by value. Call by value. And second one is pass by address. It is also called as call by address. Call by reference या pass by reference ऐसा कुछ नहीं होता C प्रोग्रामिंग में. हाँ, ऑलवेज रिमेम्बर C++ में होता है. इन कुछ बुक्स के अंदर वो गलत तरीका है. कुछ बुक्स के अंदर ऐसा लिखा हुआ है कि पास बाय वैल्यू एंड पास बाय रेफरेंस मेथड है. So we do not have pass by reference method in C. Instead, we have pass by address method. There is a difference between an address and a reference. So pass by value or pass by address, or it is also called call by value or call by address. Whenever we pass a data to a function, we are passing a data to a function. This is my function, and I am passing this data. For example, we have defined a function to find the area of a circle. So what we have passed to that function? Radius. When we define the function to find the factorial of a given number, what we have passed? A number. When we have defined the function to display the Fibonacci series up to the given number, then what we have passed? A number. ठीक है. तो ये जो हम पास करते हैं ना डेटा फंक्शन को, ये डेटा पास करने के दो तरीके हैं. Two methods. One is called pass by value. Another one is called pass by reference. Oh, sorry, pass by address. I'm extremely sorry. So in pass by value method, what happens? You make up a value of a data and then you pass that value to a function. This is as good as you want to give a document to one of your friends. You want to pass For example, you want to send a mark sheet, your mark sheet to your friend. So your friend would be doing something or your mark sheet data, okay, finding out your pointer and so on. जो भी हो. So there are two possibilities. One possibility is that you are making up a Xerox copy of your mark sheet and then you are giving that Xerox copy to your friend. That method is called pass by value method. What you are doing? You are making a copy of a value and then you are passing that value or that additional copy. Okay. In this case, what happens? आपके फ्रेंड को आपने पास किया जेरोक्स कॉपी, सेंड किया जेरोक्स कॉपी. अभी आपका फ्रेंड अगर उस जेरोक्स कॉपी के ऊपर कुछ भी कर दे, आपके 40 मार्क्स को 80 मार्क्स कर दे, आपके 80 मार्क्स को 0 कर दे, कोई भी चेंजेस कर दे, वो चेंजेस क्या आपकी मार्कशीट पे रिफ्लेक्ट होंगे? प्लीज टेल मी whether the changes which your friend is making on a Xerox copy of your mark sheet, whether those changes will be reflected on your original mark sheet? No, it will never be reflected because the changes are made on a Xerox copy. Exactly in that way only, here we are passing by value. When we write here the name of a variable, so what the compiler will do, a compiler will create a value, will create a copy of this variable, and then that copy will be passed to this variable. This variable will have that copy, and now whatever changes you are making using this variable name, those changes are done on that copy. So this original will not get changed because of the changes done on a copy. I repeat, the original will not get changed because the changes are done on a copy. Okay? Now the second method is pass by address method or call by address method. What happens in this method? Again, a same example. For some reason, you need to provide your mark sheet to your friend. Now, instead of making a Xerox of it, for some reason you do not have a time or anything like that, you are not providing a copy of your original mark sheet to your friend. Instead, you are providing the address of the original copy. I repeat, you are providing the address of a original copy. I repeat, you are providing the address of a original copy. You are saying to your friend, you see my friend, my original copy is kept at this location, at this address. So your friend then uses the address to access your original copy, and then whatever changes your friend makes using that address, will those changes will be reflected in the original copy? Yes or no? The changes which your friend is doing by making use of the address, your friend has got the address of the original copy. So your friend is now accessing the original copy. Now whatever changes your friend makes, those changes will be reflected in the original copy. That is called pass by address method. So now conceptually we are understanding that whenever you pass a data by its address, whatever changes are made in the called function, whatever changes are made in the called function, those changes will be reflected in the calling function. Those changes will be reflected in the calling function. If you are passing a data by pass by value method, so whatever changes are done in the called function will not be reflected in the calling function. Will not be reflected in the calling function if it is passed by value. If it is passed by address method, then whatever changes you are making in the call function, those changes will be reflected in the calling function. So now we want, this is our requirement, that when the initialize function is changing the top value to -1, those changes must be reflected over here. ये तो हमारा requirement है, ये तो हमारी need है. So that's why what we need to do, we need to make use of the second method. पास मैसेज पासिंग में जो सेकेंड मेथड है उसे हमें यूज करना पड़ेगा. क्या है सेकेंड मेथड? पास बाय एड्रेस. सो इंस्टेड ऑफ पासिंग अ वैल्यू वी नीड टू पास अ address. Okay, now how to access a address in C programming language? If I want an address of a variable, if I want a name of a variable, I simply write the name of a variable. If I want an address of a variable, what should I write? Come on fast. Scanf function. Scanf function accepts the address of a variable. So how do you write the address of a variable there? Ampersand, ampersand. Very good. By making use of ampersand. So if I simply write s, this is the name of a variable. If I write ampersand s, this will give me the address of a variable s. So now I am passing the address. Now I am passing what? Address. Now when we pass an address to a function, the function should have something which can accept an address. Which can accept an address. Okay. अगर आप 1 लीटर पानी किसी बोतल में डाल रहे हो, किसी कंटेनर में डाल रहे हो, तो कंटेनर की कैपेसिटी होनी चाहिए क्या वो 1 लीटर पानी को ले सके. अगर कंटेनर आधे लीटर का है तो आपका आधा लीटर पानी स्पिल आउट हो जाएगा. Are you getting it? So likewise, if you are passing a address to a function, so function is going to catch, the function is going to accept a address. So function should have something which can accept an address. I am passing an address of a type or to a type struct stack. I am passing an address to a type struct stack. So I should have something which can accept an address to a type struct stack. So a struct stack ही रहेगा, but something which can accept an address. That something is nothing but a pointer. That something is nothing but a pointer. What is pointer? A pointer is an address holding element. A pointer can hold or can store an address of a variable, an address of a function, an address of a structure, an address of an array. किसी का भी एड्रेस अगर आपको चाहिए, you can take up into a pointer. So here I am passing an address. Oh, so okay, so that's why we need to have pointer over here. How to have a pointer? एड्रेस स्पेसिफाई करने के लिए एम्परसेंड, पॉइंटर स्पेसिफाई करने के लिए स्टार. एड्रेस स्पेसिफाई करने के लिए एम्परसेंड एंड पॉइंटर स्पेसिफाई करने के लिए स्टार. सो टू स्पेसिफाई एड्रेस वी राइट एम्परसेंड, and to specify a pointer we write star. Okay, so now st is a pointer to struct stack. I repeat, st is a pointer to structure stack. Okay, if this st would have been a simple variable to a structure stack, so to access the data member using variable name, a pointer is operator is a dot operator. Operator is a dot operator if you are accessing a data member using a structure variable name. If you want to access a data member using a pointer to structure, then this dot operator will not work. Instead of dot operator, we make use of different operator called arrow operator. Arrow operator. Arrow operator कैसे आएगा आपका? माइनस साइन और ग्रेटर देन साइन. दिस इज कॉल्ड एरो ऑपरेटर. ठीक है, दो सिंबल को मिला के, दो कैरेक्टर को मिला के, इट्स अ कॉम्बिनेशन ऑफ टू कैरेक्टर्स, माइनस एंड ग्रेटर देन सिंबल और ग्रेटर देन कैरेक्टर. ठीक है, तो आपके कीबोर्ड के ऊपर माइनस और ग्रेटर देन दोनों को मिलाओ. आप पहले माइनस टाइप करो, फिर इसके बाद में ग्रेटर देन टाइप करो, you will get a operator called arrow operator. ठीक है, I repeat, if this is a simple variable to a structure stack, then the operator which you will be using to access the data member will be a dot operator. If it is a pointer to a structure stack, then you cannot make use of dot operator. Instead, you need to make use of another operator called arrow operator, which is minus and greater than sign. Okay, so this is how you will be accessing a data member using a pointer to structure. Now let's see. Then where do we need to change anything? We don't need to change anything because S is still a variable to a structure stack, and I can simply write here h dot top. Okay, I save this code, and now I try to run this code, and let's see what output we get. What is this? I did not save it. Okay. Now see the output carefully. What we are getting, h dot top is -1. It means that the changes which we are doing in the call function, those changes are reflected in the calling function. That's why now in the calling function, when we are displaying h dot top is displayed as -1. Okay, first element is 8. It's a garbage value. वो आप कितनी भी बार रन करो, हो सकता है 8 ही आए या कुछ और आए, anything can come because we have not inserted any element into the stack, so it will be like that only. So this is the first function which we have done on a stack, and a very simple function has taken so much time because we were trying to understand the concept behind passing the data, how the data can be passed, how it can be changed. इसके लिए आपको थोड़ा घुमा के लाया गया, ठीक है? Once you understand this, so in all the functions we will be passing the data by pass by address method. So it is very important to understand this pass by address method. Once you understand this pass by address method, it will be very simple for you to understand the entire program, to understand all the functions. And then the same way, we are going to implement other data structures also. In the same way, we are going to make all our programs generalized program and modular program. Okay, so it is very important to understand, and that's why I have explained so much about how you can pass data to a function. That is message passing method. One is your pass by value method, another one is pass by address. In pass by value method, you pass up a what? Xerox copy, you can say, or a copy of your data. Okay? Always remember the example of your mark sheet. In pass by address method, you pass the address of a data. So in pass by value method, whatever changes are made in the call function, those changes are not reflected in the calling function. In pass by address method, whatever changes are done in the call function, those changes are reflected in the calling function. ठीक है? और हमें changes reflect करना है. That's why we need to make use of a pass by address method. And since we are making use of pass by address method, we need to pass the address. So we are making use of ampersand operator. And then here, since we are passing an address of a variable of type structure stack, that's why you need a pointer of a structure stack type. So that's why we are declaring struct stack star st. So this becomes a pointer. This star will make st pointer to structure stack. And since we are making use of pointer to access the data member, so instead of a dot operator, you need to make use of an arrow operator. Instead of a dot operator, you need to make use of a arrow operator. So this is our initialize function. Once you understand this, now see how easy becomes other functions. For example, I want to write for the second one. What was the second one? Second operation is empty. to check whether the stack is empty or not. The given stack is empty or not. Okay. How to do that? Let's write a function for it. What should be the name of a function? What should be the name of a function? Is empty is a good name. Whether to check whether the stack is empty or not. Is underscore. I can write like this also, or I can write like this also. Is empty. It's up to me. How do I want to write? Okay. So suppose I write it like this: is empty. What will be passing to this function? Obviously the stack, which we need to check whether the stack is empty or not. So struct stack. What? Pass by value method or pass by address method? You are going to check whether the stack is empty or not. That's all. Whatever changes you are doing into this empty function, those changes need not be reflected in the calling function, in the main function. Means you are not making the stack empty. You are just checking whether the stack is empty or not. So you are just reading the value. You are not writing into it. Okay. So you can simply pass. You can use pass by value method. या फिर आपको इनलाइन रहना है इसी के साथ में तो पास बाय एड्रेस मेथड भी आप यूज कर सकते हैं. नो इश्यू फॉर इट. आई विल बी सेइंग इफ st.top, what is an empty condition? Stack empty condition. Stack हमारी empty कब होती है? When the top is -1. So if my top double equals -1, not single equal. Single equal is an assignment operator. Double equal is an equality operator. So if my st.top is -1, I would say return what? Return true. Yes, it is empty. My true is 1, so let me write 1. Return 1. Else if it is not -1, so return 0. 0 means false. Okay. So this is our is empty function. What we are returning, 1 or 0. So the return type of the function becomes what? The return type of the function becomes int. Or if you want to take a Boolean type, so it can be bool and then you can be returning true or false. It's up to us. How do you want to handle it? Now, if you want to use this function is empty here, so is empty function and I am passing say s. This is returning me something. So for example, as a ch check equals to is empty and this ch is of type the chk check. This check is of type int. Then here I can check for chk. If chk means if it is 0, then print stack is empty. Else enter stack is empty. This chk will check for true, and if the return value is 1, that is true, so it will say the stack is empty. and if the return value is 0, so it means that it is false, so it will say stack is not empty. So let's execute this code. ये हमेशा का problem है इसका. Stack is empty, okay, because it is having a value -1, top value is -1, and let me सजाने का काम कर लो. So it says stack is empty because s dot top is -1, and if I check for the s1 whether s1 is empty or not, what should be the output? Did we initialize s1? No, we haven't initialized s1. So s1 dot top क्या -1 है? No, it is not -1. So since it is not -1, is empty will return us a false value, that is 0. Okay, and then it should display that the stack is not empty. Let's see. Yes, stack is not empty. Okay. What is the full condition for the stack? I want to check whether the stack is full or not. So my function name becomes is capital F full. What I will be passing? Obviously the stack. And since we are only checking is full or not, so we are not making any changes on the stack. So we can make use of pass by value method. What we'll be doing into this? And since it is going to return true or false, the return type can remain int. And now you tell me the condition. यहाँ पर एक condition थी, यहाँ पर एक condition बताओ. And then meanwhile, let me share the attendance form with you. Please keep on posting the answer regarding a full condition. What is a stack full condition? If a stack is implemented using arrays, चलो ht dot top equals minus max minus 1. Okay, max minus 1. I have posted a link for your attendance. Please give your attendance. Often in your class, only around 40 students remains. Why most of the students are remaining absent? Aitesham, you are the CR of a class. Aitesham is there. Please unmute your mic and talk if you are there. Is Aitesham there? Do we have another CR in the class? A girl CR? कोई और second CR है आपकी class में? Yes, please, someone answer. Who are you? What's your name?
हेलो
विक्रा।
एहतेशाम कहाँ चले गए थे भाई एहतेशाम?
सर वो लैपटॉप चल नहीं रहा था एक्चुअली,
अब चल रहा है?
हैंग हो गया था।
Did you remain for the entire session?
यस सर, अभी बस हैंग हो गया तो मैं रिस्टार्ट करना पड़ गया था।
ओके, टेल मी, जनरली आपके क्लास में इतने 40 के आसपास ही स्टूडेंट्स होते हैं क्या हर सेशन में?
सर 48 के आसपास होते हैं जनरली, थोड़े बच्चे कम हैं।
योर टोटल स्ट्रेंथ इज नाउ 65. Earlier it was 63. Then two lateral entries we have. Then now it is 65. So at least 55 to 60 students are expected. Do you know the students, those who are remaining absent throughout, those who are not in a position to attend the online sessions? If that is the case, then do send me the roll numbers of such students.
None of the students till now have contacted me about the problems they are facing, sir. But I will try to learn what the problems they are facing and try to solve.
1 minute. रोल नंबर के कॉलम में डेटा नहीं आ रहा है बोले. Let me check. Just a minute. Huh? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Why I'm getting an error over here? Just a minute. Please wait a minute. Let me check. How come this many students could give the attendance?
सर हम लोग ने उसी को सिलेक्ट कर
कभी
दिया.
आ रहा है कभी नहीं आ रहा है क्या?
Sir, we selected no data
Sorry.
by mistake.
Just a minute. I got the attendance of a few of the students. So they got the roll numbers. Yeah, what the hell is this? Small ranges. Okay, now the attendance, now the roll number is coming. Please put up your attendance fast. Stopping the recording.